is my choice. My daughter is my choice. My life is my choice.
He's back, my Ricky Dicky, my Doodah, my Grimes.
Hi, I'm Andrew Lincoln, aka Ricky Dicky Doodah Grimes.
Okay, so before we get into the trailer reaction for the Walking Dead spin-off, The Ones Who Live, I want to keep saying those who wish me dead. That's not the name of it at all.
Shut up.
And I just want to quickly give my thoughts on the Walking Dead show as a whole, because I have technically watched The Walking Dead, but not really, because from 2022 to the whole of last year, so 2023, me and my friend Darren watched The Walking Dead. Darren had already seen it, but he was showing it to me for the first time. And overall, I like The Walking Dead up until about Season 7, Season 8. More so Season 7 than Season 8, just because when you get to Season 8 and the way they finish off Negan, or at least finish off Negan's story, I don't entirely love it. Like, you can't have Rick Grimes for the past 2 seasons being like, I'm gonna kill him, I'm gonna kill him.
I'm gonna kill you. I told you already, I'm gonna kill you.
And then you get to it and he's just like, no, I'm not gonna kill you because Carl said we had to live together. It's like, no, you can't give me 2 seasons of build-up only to not deliver on it. Like, you can't give me 2 seasons of build-up of Rick being like, I'm gonna kill you. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but I will kill you. You can't have that for 2 seasons straight and then you get to the end of the season and Rick doesn't kill Negan. Like, it's just a bit silly.
I told you already, I'm gonna kill. Shut up.
Also, the way they killed off Carl was absolutely ridiculous and stupid. And then after Season 8, we sort of skipped around. Like, we watched half of Season 9 and a little bit afterwards. But as soon as Rick Grimes left the show, I knew for a fact that my interest in The Walking Dead died. I was there for Rick Grimes, I was there for Andrew Lincoln, and when he left the show, you could tell the show was scrambling about. They had no idea what the hell they were doing. And then I saw a couple of episodes from, like, Season 10 and Season 11. The Negan episode showing Negan's backstory was fantastic. That was great. But then you get to the overall series finale, and I'm not gonna lie, there were so many weird things that happened in the time skips. Like, for example, Rosita and Gabriel. Like, how does that work? Just, no. Like, don't get me wrong. Gabriel's a great character. I really like him. But him and Rosita, where did that come from? That didn't make any sense. They regressed so many of the cool characters like Daryl. Like, Daryl just became a man who just kind of walked about and just went, hey, just grunting about, like, no, Daryl was cool. Daryl was kind of like the Wolverine type of character. He was the badass with a heart of gold, and they just reduced him to a savage man, and it's like, what have you done? But then, in the finale, when you hear that voice, that old southern drawl, that Rick Grimes, Lori, Coral, there we go, I got it now. When you hear Rick's voice, and they essentially do a little teaser sequence setting up the spin-off show, I'm not gonna lie, I was excited. I was like, yeah, it's my boy, it's Ricky Dicky Doodah Grimes.
Ricky Dicky Doodah Grimes.
But the thing I just found funny with The Walking Dead was how it was one of the most popular shows of all time, and all the hype kind of fizzled out, and when it ended, no one really cared. Anyways, we'll talk about that after the trailer reaction, so without further ado, let's get into this.
I'm looking for him. I'm gonna head north.
One thing I can say from the get-go is that the scale and the budget for this is so big. It looks so cool. Just seeing the massive hordes of walkers and zombies that, I mean, let's face it, when you watch the original Walking Dead show, there are some shots that are really, they haven't aged well. Some of the VFX, some of the compositing is kind of like, okay, this is like 2010's filmmaking, or more so 2010's TV filmmaking.
My wife is my choice. My daughter is my choice. My life is my choice.
Oh, it's so good to hear Andrew Lincoln's voice. Andrew Lincoln, I think, is one of the most underrated actors on the planet. I think he's so good, and I wish he was in more things. I love him in Love Actually. I love him as Rick Grimes. I just wish he would do more things. He's so good. Also, if you've listened to the audiobook for Quidditch Through the Ages, Andrew Lincoln narrates it, and his narration is perfect. Anyways, one of the things that I've seen a lot of fans speculate about Rick Grimes is this shot here, where he's leaning up against the wall and his left hand is not in frame. A lot of fans are speculating that Rick Grimes is going to lose his hand, which he apparently does in the comics. I haven't read the comics, so I'm not entirely sure of how or when that happens. I think I read or saw somewhere that Negan or the Governor does it, but anyways, just getting into the idea of Rick Grimes losing his hand, I think that'd be cool. I mean, for the most part, the show isn't really accurate to the comics from what I can tell and from what I've seen, but there are moments where they try to incorporate later things in the comics into the show, so I'm assuming at some point Rick might lose his hand.
This is the most powerful military on the planet.
So all this stuff with this organization, I've forgotten the name, but all this stuff with the organization is interesting. The way they left off Rick in Season 9 with him and Jadis escorting him to this military base, It's interesting, and obviously this show is going to give us the answers, but I'm curious as to see what it actually is.
Or do you want to die?
So some of the glimpses we see of Rick just being angry and savage. Savage Rick is one of, if not is some of the coolest moments in the original Walking Dead show. In seasons 3 to like... From, I think, season 5 is when he becomes, I call Messiah Rick, where he has the big bushy beard. He looks like a prophet. You know, he's walking around with the red machete, like, hacking people and stuff. Like, that's the Rick Grimes I love. Is that the season where he bites the guy's neck, or is that season 4? I can't remember. But, yeah. All I remember is that, like, Messiah Rick, Savage Rick was some of, like, the best moments of the entire original Walking Dead show. Oh, why did they give Jadis that hair? Why? What happened? Is her original name Annie? Because I remember she has that whole thing where she has a thing with Gabriel, and it's like, first of all, Gabriel, how is he doing this? How is he doing this? Like, don't get me wrong, I love Gabriel. I think he's a really great character, and he is really cool. But how is my man doing this? Rosita, Jadis, like, how? What is his secret?
It can be me, please.
But also, they did the actress dirty again with the hair, like, god damn it. But I guess that's the character, so whatever. Like, it doesn't really matter, but like, god damn, that wig. February 25th. Look, I just have to say this. I am excited for this show, but I won't lie. The Walking Dead, the show itself, in my opinion, died when Andrew Lincoln left the show. And so I'm hoping now, because Andrew Lincoln is returning as Rick Grimes, that this is going to be really interesting, really impactful. This is going to be a really cool and interesting story. Because I'm not going to lie, some of the spin-offs that they have released right now, I have no interest in. The Negan spin-off, I don't care for. The Daryl spin-off, why is that getting a second season? It's ridiculous. And hopefully this Rick Grimes spin-off will be the one with the source, with the juice, with the story. But then a question I'm going to raise is that if this show is really good and the story is really good, why wasn't this just the last couple of seasons of The Walking Dead? Because really, one of the reasons why me and Darren skipped around after season 9 was the fact that the show just became boring. It was so dull, there was no life to it. There was some cool and fun characters, like I loved it when Dan Fogler showed up. I was like, hey, it's Jacob Kowalski, I love this guy. And some of the stuff with like Benjamin and his girlfriend and stuff, that was fun. But in the end, it was really boring. Obviously, whenever Jeffrey Dean Morgan showed up as Negan, it was fun. He was entertaining. But I won't lie, the overall narrative of the seasons was so dull. Every episode felt like such a drag and such a chore that I just didn't want to watch. I really didn't care. And the thing that I want to know about this spin-off, the ones who live, I was going to say those who wish me dead again. Why do I keep thinking that? The thing is that if Rick dies in this, in many ways, this should be the end of The Walking Dead. And if Rick and Michonne don't die, then is this set up for like a last final season of The Walking Dead with Rick? Like, how do you technically end the Walking Dead universe? Because realistically, in my opinion, Rick Grimes is the only character I really care about now. And in my opinion, the show lives and dies with Rick Grimes. Like, how do you end this series, I guess, without Rick Grimes dying? Or at the very least, you do need Andrew Lincoln there if you want this series to keep on going. But then also, I feel like The Walking Dead is like way past its prime. This spin-off looks good, but after the spin-off, what else? They're still doing Daryl Dixon season 2. They're still doing more spin-offs, I think, but what is the point? Who's asking for these? Look, I don't want Rick Grimes to die. Like I say, he's my favorite character. I want him and Michonne and RJ and Judith to live happily ever after, but they're in a zombie apocalypse. How do you end this without it being really morbid and really dark and really depressing? Because every time the original show tried to give Rick a happy ending, things got bad, things went worse, people died, and ultimately Rick Grimes ended up alone and sad. So unless you kill off Rick, how do you end the Walking Dead franchise? Look, I'm not gonna lie, every time I see material for this spin-off, I just see Rick Grimes walking around with a target on his back. This man is marked for death. Like, I do not see how Rick Grimes can survive this show. But if he does, great. But if he doesn't, kind of called it. Like, that's the only way you really end the show, right? But those are just my thoughts on the trailer for The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. It looks good. I'm looking forward to it. I love seeing Andrew Lincoln back as Rick Grimes. He looks great. He sounds great. That's the Rick Grimes. That's my Ricky Dicky Doodah Grimes I remember.
Me? You mean me?
But those are just my thoughts. What do you guys think? What do you guys think of The Walking Dead as a franchise as a whole as well? Did you love it from start to finish? Did you drop off after Glenn died? Because let's be honest, that's when most people gave up on it. Let me know in the comments down below. Like, subscribe, follow on social media, all that good stuff. Until we meet again, see you guys next time.